see the same people every other day, but we never say hey, 'cause we're never looking the way, or my face was in my notebook. We passed each other, didn't look. But these are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, big small towns, overlapping side by side, big small towns. I see new people every day. Everyone's on their way, doing the things that fill their day. And I'm going places too, doing the things that I do with my time. We are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, big small towns, diagonal, top to bottom, big small towns. Be nice to the people of the towns. Once in a while look around, 'cause what's going around's coming around. What came around's coming around. What's going around's coming around. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We almost always do this show on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Support this project over at patreon.com/Echoplex or at eplex.store. And I don't know, I'm producer Dave, and you can find me on Grindr.
And this is the Councilman with you as always. You can find me on X at THE_Councilman. That's THE_Councilman. I'm probably the least sane person you will ever not block on X. Possibly.
Was it? No, I don't think it was yours. I forget. You used to say your account used to say like, did your thing on your account used to say like least racist person in Willow Glen or something like that at one point?
Something like that. I think it was like the least racist person you will ever block on Twitter. Like back when it was called Twitter. But anyway, good to see you as always, producer Dave, and welcome everyone, listener, welcome viewer to Downballot. We had a lot to cover this week, so the docket is full, and I'm very excited about being here tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so let's hop to it. I like the new order of events, by the way. Everybody, we do leading off, then down ballot watch, then winners and losers, then get your shit together, then another thing. I love this. I feel like it ramps up the crazy, and then at the end it like lets you off like real gentle.
Yeah, it's a little easy letdown, which is what another thing should be at the end of the day. So, fuzzy animals and automobiles crashing into cannabis dispensaries. So
what do we got for leading off?
Well, there was a local poll that's done every year by the I'm forgetting the name of the organization, Silicon Valley something or other. Anyway, they do a poll of the local residentry, and every year they report back on what some of our big concerns and issues are, and we're going to hear more about that from NBC Bay Area.
Well,
Joint venture Silicon Valley.
Money. A new survey showing what people are concerned about here in the Bay Area features the usual concerns: housing prices and income inequality.
But there's also mistrust when it comes to tech.
Let's bring in our business and tech reporter, Scott Bowman, who's joining us with tracking the results of this annual survey. What are you seeing, Scott?
Well, Jessica and Raj, the feeling here, something we've seen in several parts of the country. We as individuals are doing okay. Job growth up, wages up. But overall, we're worried about how far our money will go, especially when it comes to housing. We're also worried about the power of tech companies. Olivia Cornejo, like a lot of Bay Area residents, is worried about money.
I mean, everything's really expensive now and uncertain, and I mean, rents are really high and food is really expensive. Yeah, I think it's really uncertain right now.
According to a new survey taken by the Silicon Valley Leadership Group and Bay Area News Group, housing prices, wealth inequality, and homelessness are among our biggest concerns here.
A few years ago, you used to get a lot of things, and now if you get like a cart full, it's like $100.
There's this feeling that even though I'm gainfully employed, I'll never get ahead in this region.
Leadership Group CEO Russell Hancock says the cost of living has gotten so expensive, even some people with good tech jobs are worried.
The Bay Area has a strong, robust economy, and it's actually a growing economy. Our unemployment rate is low. But there's a thing about the Bay Area: expensive. The housing costs are through the roof.
There's also a rising mistrust of big tech. A large majority saying tech companies have too much power and not enough ethics. And AI, while creating jobs, comes under fire when it comes to the fear of spreading misinformation.
Okay, interesting. Like you said, there's a lot of concerns that we always ask about. Any in this survey, optimism about the future in the right direction, or is it still, I'm just concerned about paying my mortgage right now?
It's actually two things. So optimistic about the future? Yeah, they're optimistic. They're worried about money, but they can say, hey, we can pay our bills now. Looking ahead, tech is doing some great things, and that's good. But let's look in the house, our families, our kids. We're really worried right now and not trusting the tech companies because our kids are on social media, and that's a big concern going forward. And so instead of looking at the tech industry and companies like Apple and saying, hey, thank goodness they provide us with all these jobs and wages and everything, that has turned a bit. And because of things like phones, you're right, Jessica, a little less trust going forward. So income, hey, we're doing all right. But we're not really trusting where that money is coming from.
And I'm likely to suspect that people are always really worried about AI also and the impact that that's going to have on them and on the kids, too.
Very much on them, on their kids, on this upcoming election. Nobody is really trusting what they see on social media as much as they used to. And that's because all these bots, AI, the machines, and cranking out disinformation. And so we're a little less trustworthy. And as the survey says, we're blaming that on the tech companies.
Okay.
So if people are a little less trusting of what they see on social media, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing, actually, if they're becoming more discerning because they're more aware of the fact that they might be being manipulated. And I think that's fabulous. So it's good to hear that there is that concern out there and that people are being more discerning. And I really hope that they do see through all the lies and misrepresentations and conspiracies, especially from networks like Echoplex Media. They have to be shut down. They're just peddlers of lies and deceit. So definitely don't believe anything you hear on this show. That's for sure. I definitely don't believe anything you hear from NBC Bay Area too, by the way. So I was struggling to remember the name of the organization that fronts the poll that's done every year prior to the clip. And I just blurted it out, Joint Venture Silicon Valley, which is true. Only to hear that the reporter on the story, Scott Budman, completely beefed on the name of the organization and actually misappropriated this to the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, which frankly is a very similar organization. It's a think tank for local corporations, basically. But it's not the same think tank that puts out the poll. So when they confronted the CEO at his home there, Russell, the Chiron had completely the wrong organization listed, and the storyteller pretty much had the wrong organization as well. So I don't feel so bad about not remembering the name because I'm not the reporter and I didn't misrepresent the name of the organization. Anyway, it's Joint Venture Silicon Valley.
And also it's like, it's sort of brings up something that there's all these like overlapping organizations that you sort of get confused with one another that are probably not really doing anything for the people of Silicon Valley anyway. It's just like, I don't know, people got to work in the fucking, people got to work at a think tank, I guess.
Right. It's like, it sometimes I wonder, and this is being said as someone who knows many people who have worked at these specific think tanks and at the leadership group in high level positions, people who I do respect, but it struggles sometimes to understand what the point of these organizations is, other than to give people fancy jobs that they can then use to leverage to get better jobs. And like I said, many of the people I know have done so they're actually in better jobs now, or they're in elected office, so they're in better places. But yeah, I struggle to understand why these organizations can't get together and do their think tanking together instead of having all their little silos, right? And maybe looking at their one little niche of the corporate economy or their one little niche of what they do, right? Instead of pooling their resources. It happens a lot in the nonprofit sector, in all areas, because everyone wants to do it their way. And at the end of the day, we'd all get a lot further if we went together.
So we're going to move on to Downballot Watch. The next story, it kind of ties in with the first story, and it ties in with the third story. What's up with this first story here on Downballot Watch?
Well, originally this was going to come after the third and be the third story, and the third story would have been the second story. Are you following so far? Who's on first?
Yeah, it's a who's on first situation.
Correct. But I figured that it would be better to show this because it had some tie into the previous story. So there's some fears out there about AI, right, and how it impacts our elections. Well, it's impacting one local election that we've been covering here on Downballot quite extensively. Mayor Sam Liccardo caught himself laryngitis. So he's been using AI to communicate with voters. And we're going to learn more about how he's doing that from ABC7 News. The story just landed today. I am so excited that we got it on the docket, and I can't wait for you to see it.
Congressional District 16 candidate Sam Liccardo has no voice.
This is my second interview in AI text-to-speech, so I'm starting to feel like a veteran.
With less than 30 days to the election and a laryngitis diagnosis, Liccardo is turning to artificial intelligence voice technology. During a meet and greet in Palo Alto Monday afternoon, he used Speechify, an app that reads aloud text. He submitted a 20-second sample of a previous speech so the voice would sound like him. This is a clip of Liccardo's real voice.
We expected it would be a very tough contest, and it was.
And this is the synthetic voice.
In elections, victory goes to the nimble. We're hustling to do all that we can to continue to community with residents.
It was a first for me in my career to ask a question to a person and receive an answer via AI. Liccardo would type his response before the computer read it aloud. Merva Highcock is the president of Center for AI and Digital Policy.
He was upfront about his laryngitis and why he's using it and how he's using it. So he was transparent about it.
UC Berkeley Associate Research Professor Andrew Reddy said your voice is effectively a fingerprint of you.
I mean, I think one of the things that potentially to be said on synthetic voices is that there are no established rules of the road in terms of how these things can be used downstream. And so we get fairly comfortable with the tools like these ones because we feel as if we have control over how they're being used. The corporation that's providing the service, right, ultimately, right now has, ownership over that.
Liccardo's opponent, Evan Lowe, said their team is doing everything they can to get their message out.
A few months beforehand, maybe individuals were not paying attention, there wasn't the type of engagement, but now as we're down to the wire and ballots are arriving, people are paying attention, and it's very exciting now. We can capture their attention and say, let's talk about how we can best impact the quality of life for you each and every day.
Liccardo is planning for a few more days of vocal rest.
I'm keeping to my doctor's orders and keeping my mouth shut until then.
In the South Bay, Lauren Martinez, ABC7 News.
Oh man, I know Sam's wife, and she must just be loving this right now. He can't talk at all. Oh, this is for heaven right now.
People in chat are kind of pointing out that this is just text to speech, right? That this isn't what people might think that it is, that it's like a fake version of him. We've had text to speech for a very long time, actually.
Yeah, very much so. And now voice to text, right? The reverse, pretty prevalent. Just about anyone can use it. Even my Luddite relatives know how to use it. To my chagrin sometimes, because you get these diatribes in text form that it takes a couple hours to read and a few cups of coffee. But anyway, this is very this is not AI necessarily. AI would be like this reporter or someone at the event like asking a question, right? And this bot responding, not Sam sitting there typing his response as a human, right, into this voice to tech or a type to voice system. So AI would be more like, what's your policy on housing, right? And the AI bot searches all of Sam's speeches and all of his materials, right, and uses that voice and comes back with an answer that's cobbled together from that. And so Sam just has to sit there and smile, I guess. It's the new norm in meet and greets, campaign meet and greets. Well, we don't even have to have the candidate anymore. You just have to have a little computer that can respond for the candidate.
All right. So we got a related story. What else happened with his laryngitis?
Well, this was actually the first piece of fallout from the laryngitis. So last week, of course, we referenced that the night after Downballot, there was to be a debate between the two candidates in this race. That was going to be hosted by NBC Bay Area and KQED and Telemundo. Unfortunately, Sam's laryngitis cropped up literally that morning, apparently. So they were forced to cancel, and they have rescheduled. I shouldn't say cancel. They have rescheduled, but it's going to be popping off this Friday night when so many people are watching TV. Here's a little more on the fallout from that and what the campaigns were saying to each other. It's pretty funny.
We do have an update now on the congressional debate we plan to host this evening. It's been canceled after former San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo withdrew, citing laryngitis. Sam Liccardo and Assemblyman Evan Lowe are running to replace retiring Congresswoman Anna Eshoo. She represents the 16th District, which covers parts of the peninsula and the South Bay. Liccardo's team reached out to us late this morning saying he lost his voice and would need to withdraw and reschedule. A short time later, Liccardo tweeted that he lost his voice doing meet and greets and other campaign events. He says he's being given medication for his laryngitis and is working to reschedule both the debate and other events. Hours after that post, Evan Lowe's campaign manager issued a statement questioning the reason the former mayor withdrew from the debate, writing in part, quote, "It's extremely suspicious, especially since it comes days after San Jose police and firefighters blasted Liccardo for lying about his record, attacking first responders, and
the councilman.
To lose 500 cops on the beat. Liccardo should prove it." The Liccardo campaign responded to that statement, writing to us, quote, "As soon as it became clear Sam's voice would not recover, we communicated clearly with the organizers and provided alternative dates. They also provided images of a prescription and a doctor's note indicating the former mayor was evaluated for laryngitis and was advised to rest his voice for the next 5 to 7 days. And we are working with both campaigns right now and our debate partners at Telemundo 48 and KQED to reschedule the debate in the near future. We'll keep you updated.
Do you think Throatgate is going to have an impact on the election?
Well, I mean, maybe. I wish it did, because my personal preference in the race. But I'm sorry we didn't have another clip for the Twitch viewers tonight, but that actually had the doctor's note. They actually screenshotted the Kaiser doctor's prescription or whatever for Sam. So classic, so middle school, so just lovely. I really enjoy that story. It just keeps on that race just keeps on giving. There's also some ads that are starting to pop up in that race that we can run on our future down ballot bingo this month. But very, very juicy, very spicy, as you can see between the campaigns. They really do not like each other, and it's going to be a lot of fun down the stretch watching them not like each other.
So I'm allowed to say this probably, and you're not. I'm really surprised, actually, that Throatgate wasn't about the gay candidate.
Maybe he's offended, right? That the throat vote was robbed from him. The deep throat vote.
We should stop.
I should stop first. I mean, you can keep going, but I should definitely stop. Oh, my mom's watching, going, "Please stop, Councilman, please." So
just a side note, I was in Campbell en route to Santa Cruz on Saturday evening, and we popped by downtown Campbell and had dinner, and it was as lovely as ever.
Did you see future Congressmember Lowe?
No, but we did see a couple friends of ours. I ran into some people, and we saw Patty Kay at the show in Santa Cruz, so all was good.
Oh, speaking of patty cake, I saw his sticker at a park the other day.
Very, very nice.
All right. Well, also on Down Ballot Watch, there are other cities having elections and other areas having elections in the Bay Area here. And there's actually a mayor's race happening in San Francisco that's getting, again, pretty spicy. And just recently, there were some allegations that have been thrown about related to one of the candidates and potential misuse of campaign funds. So we're going to learn more about that from KPI.
And today, there are new allegations that are adding some late drama to the race for San Francisco mayor. A group of former mayors are calling for a criminal investigation into Mark Farrell's campaign. They say Farrell is illegally using money meant to support a ballot measure for his mayoral campaign instead. So Wilson Walker was there as Farrell responded and unveiled a new strategy to pull ahead in the ranked choice system.
I love KPIX and their title.
Machine trying to attack me as a front runner in this race.
I know this is a weird question, but this red and black and white, it doesn't pop. Do you know why campaigns use the red and white like this? Because as a graphic designer, I think that the red, like it doesn't pop. I don't know. Is there a reason? Is red like a powerful color or something?
Yeah, I mean, probably irrelevant. It looks a little more orange to me on my end, or maybe like reddish orange. But red, there is a lot of psychology that can go into sign making. We could do, honestly, producer Dave, I think at least one whole down ballot just on yard sign, window sign, logo philosophy. As far as the color contrast, yeah, I would agree that it just doesn't pop as much as something else would. The color, like the red color, does project war, masculinity, power, authority, right? That's what red generally, right, will project. So that's more like if someone's using red, in theory, that's what they're going for. Most times, I just to err on the side of what has the most contrast and pops the most. In if it's a window sign like this, like what's going to pop in a window? What are you going to be able to see from the street and read and just absorb simply, right? So I don't know if this color necessarily is getting it done for me. Something with a little dark, maybe.
So I know you can't do red, black, and white because people will accuse you of being an anarchist or an anti-fascist.
Sure, or red. No one mess with red too much red, white, and blue. Honestly, can distract too, and also confuse folks about what you're running for. Especially because lower down ballot elections are generally nonpartisan, right, and more about local.
But like what I'm saying here is, you see on like the stickers or whatever, as soon as like the light hits it, it washes it out, and you can't fucking read it.
Yeah, absolutely. So something a little darker in the back would be.
Yeah, even if you just tick down the brightness on that red, it would pop. Anyway, fuck this. We're gonna watch the rest of this thing because this isn't about this guy's crappy sign.
Blatantly transparent and should be transparent to every single San Francisco voters. They are doing this only to support the candidates that they are backing. It has no basis in truth at all.
Former Mayor Mark Farrell defending himself against allegations leveled by three other former mayors, Art Agnos, Frank Jordan, and Willie Brown, who respectively support.
They're still alive.
That's a fucking dream team. You don't want those fucking people coming after you, dude. Fuck.
I knew Willie Brown was alive. I didn't realize the other two were still alive. Shit.
Man, Willie Brown has taken names lately. Every time we see Willie Brown on, it's like, oh, whoa, he's still going around taking names.
Right. Just that laugh, just yeah.
In Breed, they are asking Attorney General Rob Bonta and Brooke Jenkins, District Attorney of San Francisco, to look into whether Farrell has inappropriately used money from his Prop D campaign. Farrell has consistently denied any wrongdoing.
Every penny has been accounted for. I've disclosed everything. Again, everything we have ever done, vetted by, suggested by, cleared by counsel. We will always operate that way.
You know, every campaign season in San Francisco, you get the allegations around who's committed campaign finance violations, who's really funding campaigns, and it doesn't really resonate very much with voters. It requires a sophistication and an amount of information that voters just don't have in most local elections.
St. Mary's political science professor.
So I don't agree with him, actually. If you can like make the aura around somebody like they're as if they're dirty and they're moving money around in a way they're not supposed to be, it doesn't matter what the specifics are. If that becomes the narrative about somebody, people are going to think they're shady. I don't know how.
It's true. It's just hard to build that narrative, honestly.
Right.
A lot of times in these elections. So I do agree that it's really like the time frame, right? Like people, and also the folks are kind of like used to the negative attacks, the back and forth, right? So they kind of just don't believe anyone anymore, either side.
Says these kinds of allegations are common and often do not gain much traction amid larger issues. And for his part, Farrell's primary agenda today was telling voters something else.
Leave Mayor Breed and Aaron Peskin off your ballots. This will give us the best chance of winning in November and the best chance to deliver real results for San Francisco.
Along with his ranked choice alliance with Asha Safai, Farrell acknowledges he will need some more support.
And that is exactly why I'm asking all of Daniel Lurie's supporters that put him number one to specifically put me number two on their ballots.
And that is likely a very good indication of who Mark Farrell thinks is doing very well in this race.
So to me, I think this is a little bit of a light into how Mark Farrell's campaign sees the race shaping up, which is that Daniel Lurie's probably doing pretty well.
The other campaigns declined to comment on the request for an investigation, and the only response that the Attorney General's office would give us is that they are aware of the letter. But these two events, a ranked choice voting strategy announcement and a coordinated attack among three adversaries, it all comes as the ballots start landing in doorways and mailboxes around the city. In-person voting has started here at City Hall, so the election really is underway. Things are not going to get any more quiet over the next 29 days or so.
And a reminder, it is still not too late to register to vote. The deadline, October 21st. Voters who miss that deadline can still cast a provisional ballot.
Yeah, we have more or less same-day voting here, right?
Correct.
Or same-day registration.
Yeah, you can register the same day at the voting site. You will cast a provisional ballot, quote unquote, which means that there's potential that your ballot doesn't get counted. Unless there should be some sort of dispute or really close race in a race that you had voting privileges in, because those ballots are generally kept to the very end, and I'd like to say that they're all counted. I don't know that they all are, because they're sometimes not necessary to determine the margin of victory. But you should still bloody well vote, because in that congressional race we keep covering, in the primary, as we all know, two candidates end up tied, and even after a recount, only separated by 5 votes in a district of hundreds of thousands of people. So every vote absolutely does count. Your vote matters. Please vote. Don't sit it out, no matter where you are.
So I'm really, really disappointed in Dan Badondi's friend, Eric. I think he called him Eric Swallowswell. I don't know if you remember that.
That was exactly a Dan Badondi quote and reference in the docket. I thought you would enjoy that.
So I'm really disappointed in him. But he has endorsed the recall of the Alameda County District Attorney. Let's see what KPIX says about it.
Oh, I thought you were disappointed with his shirt choice.
Me too.
Recall DA Pamela Price got a big new endorsement from a U.S. Congressman. Wilson Walker was there.
The district attorney of the county is the highest law enforcement officer in the county. But Pam Price doesn't act that way.
That's Congressman Eric Swalwell announcing his support for the recall of Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price, alongside family members of crime victims, including the security guard shot at the Pleasanton Home Depot.
Victims' families deserve a DA that will rally with them, support them, and charge proper.
The campaign to defeat the recall, that's Protect the Win for Public Safety, responded with a lengthy statement that began with this, quote, Congressman Swalwell's public support for the recall has surprised and disappointed many of his constituents and Democratic Party members, unquote. That is a reference to the county party's official opposition to the vote.
The people of this county have the right to elect a district attorney. They did that. We should not have to do it again. Right. But we will.
Price has rallied supporters, calling the recall an effort funded by powerful interests. And the campaign's response questioned Swalwell's motives, asking, quote, could his support for the recall be an attempt to shield himself or his former colleagues from being implicated in these unethical practices, unquote, a reference to Swalwell's time in the DA's office.
Alameda County
oh, does she know some shit?
Oh, snap.
The congressman actually invoked his time in the district attorney's office during his remarks, and we should note that he made those remarks in Hayward, which reflects his district, which of course covers one chunk of Alameda County. And we should also note that
I'm literally just on I think I'm literally just like on like the inside of his district. Like the line looks like it's the freeway that I can see from here.
Will be mailed out this week.
Well, that's really surprising. Don't they usually try to stay out of stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, typically the Congress members don't need to weigh in on really anything, frankly, except maybe their colleagues' races, right, and helping colleagues win and secure more majorities for their party. Yeah, they generally just don't even wade into local races at all. So, I mean, it's not surprising. I think that there is some truth to the reaction to it. That he's really just angling and triangulating and trying to just win more support and take advantage of the zeitgeist, as it were. It's frustrating that he's using like victims' families to leverage that, right, and to be his backdrop for this. And it should really be pointed out again and again that DA Price, whatever anyone thinks about her personally, it's not as though she has not prosecuted the people that have been caught who murdered and killed the people, the victims, right? Who these families are there representing. It's not as though they are not on trial and they're not going to go away for a very, very long time. It's just that she's not really a big fan of the death penalty. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the same thing. A lot of the same issues came up with our good friend in San Francisco, right, Chesa? But I think that it fundamentally comes down to that, is that this is one of those line in the sand things where people who are in favor of the death penalty and want the death penalty are opposed to anyone who's in the criminal justice reform ilk and is not really looking to murder people who murder people and continue the cycle of murdering. Instead wants to try something different. So DA Price is trying that, and she's paying the price. No pun intended.
We'll see how this all shakes out. I mean, I'm clearly voting no on the recall. I just feel like this is going to be one of those things where people are like, who the fuck is the DA? Like, I think people outside of Oakland and Berkeley probably don't know who the fuck she is, and so it's like going to be like a toss of the coin, basically, for people outside of those areas.
Yeah, and I do think people are I don't think there's necessarily there's always election fatigue, I think. And I think it's not election fatigue more. It's just like the campaign rhetoric and advertising fatigue. But I do think that there's a fatigue around recall right now. And hopefully that will keep her safe and allow her to survive this vote and then go to a regular election when, of course, no one will step up to challenge her because these people are chicken shit. End of story.
Great. Now we're going to move on to more recall news. Apparently, the Oakland chapter of the NAACP supports an effort to recall Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao. So, let's see how this is going.
Early voting started today with a bit of a surprise on the Oakland ballot. In the recall election of Mayor Sheng Tao, there's no rebuttal from the incumbent like we normally see. Mayor Tao did not submit one before the deadline. Her campaign says the mayor was just busy doing her job. It comes on the same day the Oakland chapter of the NAACP threw its support behind the recall effort. NBC Bay Area's Jody Hernandez has more from Oakland.
The NAACP fervently believes that Mayor Tao poses a serious threat to the well-being of our great city. Right. Her actions and inactions have clearly demonstrated her inability to govern, thus endangering the safety of Oaklanders.
Strong words from the leadership of Oakland's NAACP. The local chapter announced this morning they support efforts to recall Mayor Sheng Tao.
Oakland is out of control. It is. I'm scared to even be in my own home at times by myself because I'm afraid someone may kick my door in.
They say the mayor unjustly fired former police chief LaRon Armstrong, leading to an increase in crime. They also blasted Mayor Tao for missing the deadline to secure a retail theft grant and say she has refused repeated requests to meet with them to discuss their concerns. They're calling on voters to remove the mayor from office.
You fill out that ballot and you mark recall Sheng Tao. Thank you.
Well, I'm here to say, we will not go back.
Mayor Tao and her supporters held their own news conference near the Rockridge BART station yesterday. The mayor touted her accomplishments and insists violent crime is actually down.
Under my leadership as mayor of Oakland, we've made tremendous progress, community. Crime is down by 35%, and our downtown is coming back to life with more and more foot traffic every single day.
It's a tough job, but she's doing a really good job right now.
Oakland pastor Raymond Langford worries a recall would not only cost the city a lot of money, but would cause instability and chaos. He says despite being a victim of a home invasion 2 years ago and repeated car break-ins, he feels the city is getting safer.
Things are improving in Oakland, and I know firsthand because I live in Oakland. I drive the streets and walk the streets of various communities in Oakland, and it's gotten better.
Both sides are urging voters to make their voices heard at the ballot box. In Oakland, Jody Hernandez, NBC Bay Area News.
Yeah, the rhetoric that comes out of the recall proponents here and just about anywhere, it just invariably sounds like the rhetoric you'd hear in a re-election campaign when there's an incumbent and you don't like the incumbent and their policies or their values, and so you campaign against them and you have a candidate who can take up your flag and run against the incumbent, right? And run on your values and your issues and your beliefs. That's what elections are all about. That's what representative democracy is all about, right? Recall is just exactly that. It's petty. It's retaliatory, and it's an abuse of the system. And there's nothing that she's done, nor that Pamela Price has done, to merit recall. They haven't broken the law. In fact, they're just doing their job. They're just doing their job in a way that these people don't like.
Well, the Oakland mayor's house did get raided by the FBI.
There's something going on. There's something going on with some campaign finance. And again, we give her the benefit of the doubt there. We don't know what the result of that investigation is going to be. And she has behaved a bit erratically, I would say, or at least inviting criticism, right? Especially not filing. I mean, I don't care what you think of the recall. Not filing a rebuttal argument is some pretty Bush League shit. So either they just ignored it entirely, missed the deadline. I don't know what it was, but it certainly wasn't I was busy doing my mayor thing, because she's got consultants who can write the damn thing for her. All she needs to do is say, yeah, that looks great, submit it. So I don't understand why they didn't do that. There's ample warning and time to know the deadline. So that's totally Bush League. So I don't let her off the hook entirely, but to have to face recall because people just don't like where, your policies is silly. That's what elections are for.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it as the election approaches. We're going to move on to winners and losers. And the first story, this ain't great. We're going to be following this one for many weeks to come, and possibly many months to come, I have a feeling.
Yeah, this is sort of down ballot straddling, right? In winners and losers, there's a lot going on this week. So a local council member, unfortunately, is facing some pretty serious charges and allegations related to some potential behavior that he is engaged in. So we're going to find out more from NBC Bay Area.
New fallout tonight from that bombshell in the city of San Jose. A city councilman at the center of a police investigation. Sources tell NBC Bay Area he is suspected of committing sexual misconduct with a minor and soliciting inappropriate photographs. City Councilman Omar Torres insists that he is innocent.
NBC Bay Area's Robert Honda is tracking this story. He joins us from City Hall in San Jose with more. Robert.
Well, the details that have already come out regarding the investigation into Omar Torres has a lot of people here at City Hall reeling. Torres continues to deny the allegations. The situation has a lot of people stunned and curious. San Jose police served a search warrant on Councilmember Omar Torres, and sources involved in the investigation tell NBC Bay Area he was detained and had his phone and other electronic equipment seized. Those sources say Torres is suspected of committing sexual misconduct with a minor, soliciting inappropriate pictures of minors, and is being investigated for an unknown incident which occurred while he was attending the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. People we talked to who heard about the case were dazed.
I just don't know what to think about his guilt or innocence.
You have to get the camera that close to her.
I know, right?
I would like to.
Is it like a body cam?
Maybe she's holding it.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan chose his words carefully.
All I'm able to say at this time is that this is
nothing.
An ongoing investigation, and we have to let our detectives do their jobs. I know our police department is working incredibly hard to find the truth.
In a statement, Torres said, "Today I was wrongfully detained and questioned by detectives regarding baseless allegations. Let me be absolutely clear. These accusations are entirely false. I cooperated fully with SJPD and turned over my passwords without issue, as I have nothing to hide."
You are stupid. I don't give a fuck what you're accused of, how guilty, how innocent you are. Fuck that. Be like, I need you to talk to my attorney.
Yeah, you gave the PD all your passwords? Come on now. Exactly. I don't understand.
This information provided to law enforcement in response to a police report I filed against an individual for extortion and stalking, and is a clear act of retaliation from this person. We asked legal analyst Steve Clark about how to gauge the strength of the case.
The big key to the case will be, what does this forensic information reveal? What was said between the parties? Were photographs or inappropriate material exchanged? All of that will go into whether charges are filed.
Torres, through his attorney, says he will have no more to say about the case until the police investigation is completed. In the statement to us, Torres' attorney says he anticipates Torres could talk publicly about this as early as next week. In San Jose, Robert Honda, NBC Bay Area News.
So he might have got honeypotted or some shit by like somebody. There's any number of things that could be happening here. I don't know if he's single, if he's in a relationship. I do believe I remember that he's gay. And one of the things that we talk about sometimes on here is that I think Grindr needs to be ID verifying everybody on there, not just for like age, but also for people doing like sextortion on there. So. But it could also just be that he fucking some shit happened in Chicago, and this could be like related to that. Maybe he did some shit he shouldn't have done in Chicago and been fucking texting that like any number of things are fucking possible here.
Yeah, any number of things are possible, and just frankly have to agree with Mayor Ed 209 here. We have to let the investigation play out. I certainly know Councilmember Torres, known him for a very long time. So I'd like to believe that allegations are entirely false and a bunch of crap, and it's politics, and it's getting worse and worse out there, and more spiteful and vitriolic. And yeah, there's back and forth all the time. In fact, there's been recent issues, as we've covered here on Downballot, with council members having to file restraining orders against constituents who have threatened them, right? Like people who are involved in, or quote unquote whatever organized crime we have here in San Jose, they're involved in it. And they've made threats against council members and elected officials. Councilmember Dev Davis had a live explosive device planted near her home. So it's very real for them out there. So I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the councilman that this is something like that, where he has been, how'd you put it, honeypotted, and been lured into something, or basically facing baseless accusations. But we'll see. We'll see what comes forward. And I do think that it's, as you pointed out, his attorney said Councilmember Torres will be able to speak within a week about this. Well, he already kind of did speak publicly in saying that these accusations are completely false. So that's a pretty hard line in the sand that he's drawing right now, before the investigations even happen.
I don't care who you are, how guilty or innocent you are, you have rights, and you should never, ever, ever just open the fucking door to your digital personal life to any law enforcement ever.
Right. And I would imagine that you wouldn't you would hope that one wouldn't adamantly deny, right, 100% up and down that this is happening, or just 100% this is false. But we've seen it so many times, right? So it's almost like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. But again, we are a nation of innocent until proven guilty, no matter what that nice old white lady with the camera too close to her face says.
So since then the news, they were kind of cagey, or maybe they don't have all the information. If this is in any way related to something that also happened in Chicago, what's going to happen if there's any there, the feds are going to come. The feds are coming because this is happening across state lines using a means of communication. So this would be the feds.
Yep, interstate. So it could get
what's crazy about this is it would be the fucking post office, the U.S. Postal Inspector.
Interesting. Well, it could also lead to a recall of a real sort, right? Something with cause. So
well, if it turns out there's any there, this guy better fucking step. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any there, this dude's going to jail. So
yeah, it could be pretty. Like I said, it could be pretty gnarly. So I'm gonna want to believe that what he says is true and that's completely baseless, but we'll find out. We'll find out. And I know that I can say this much: it has caused a lot of consternation and trepidation amongst folks in his circle, in his support system, Democratic Party, Labor, even folks on the 18th floor at City Hall, other council offices. It's definitely making some waves there. So everyone's feeling it right now. Anyway.
So we're going to move on here. Yeah. We got so supporters rally for fired Santa Clara County schools chief. You got a little bit of background information on this for us?
It would take an entire episode of Downballot, but in the shortest breath possible. The county Office of Education oversees special education programs and other county-wide programs. They don't oversee schools. They oversee a lot of programs that support our local schools. They do have their own superintendent, and she is appointed by a publicly elected board of education. And and in recent days and months, there has been some, shall we say, frustration with the superintendent that has manifested itself in potential votes in closed session of no confidence. However, there might be some more personal aspects to this, not necessarily professional. But at the long story short, she was eventually ousted just this last week by a majority of the board, and the fallout is going to be covered here by NBC Bay Area.
Well, a rally is underway in the South Bay to call for the reinstatement of the Santa Clara County Office of Education Superintendent. NBC Bay Area's Bob Riddell joins us live outside the Office of Education. And Bob, the superintendent's firing comes in the wake of reporting by our own NBC Bay Area investigative unit.
You are correct. Good morning to you, Chris. You can see some of the people who are at the rally. They're getting ready to leave. The rally wrapped up within the past 20 minutes. But yes, Santa Clara County Superintendent of Education, Dr. Mary Ann Dewan, she was fired by the board in a closed session on Wednesday night. So this morning, about 100 of her supporters, by my count, including current and former board members, people who are running for the board, county employees, people from other school districts. They rallied out here and they criticized the board for what they say is the board's lack of transparency, calling for the board to be more accountable, and also calling for her reinstatement.
Reporters will be happy to listen to you.
Not very good chanting.
Justice was served. Justice was served. We're going to continue the
You can see there was a disruption at the start of this rally. There was a couple of people who support Superintendent Dewan's ouster. They disrupted the start of the press conference with chants of justice was served. In a 4-2 vote with one abstention, the board trustees in a closed-door session terminated Superintendent Dewan without cause. One source tells NBC Bay Area Dewan's firing was the result of many issues, and in fact, it comes in the wake of ongoing reporting by NBC Bay Area's investigative unit surrounding allegations of misuse of funds, the mishandling of worker complaints, and claims of retaliation. There is currently an open investigation into funding for the county's Head Start program.
And I reject any claim that this is a woman that would engage in any of that behavior. I worked closely with her, and I knew how she handled stress and differences of opinion. She has handled conflict with grace, with an open mind, and I know her from our work of just under a decade.
Where do you think those allegations come from then?
I think they are motivated by an agenda of pettiness that has been led by a highly retaliatory board member.
What is your reason for supporting the firing of Dr. Dewan?
Because we need transparency, because we proved with the ORC case, we filed a Office of Civil Rights case, and we were able to prove that these parents were discriminated. Their IEPs were not respected under the federal law. That's the reason we're supporting it.
And you blame her for those?
The same thing, it has happened. We come to her, she made the decision. Nothing happens without her decisions. She's the rule, she's the leader.
Dr. Dewan did not respond to our requests for comment. Organizers of today's rally claimed the controversial firing was made without public input. And one board member this morning says she is going to call for a public hearing next week. That board member is a supporter of Dr. Dewan, by the way. One of Dr. Dewan's supporters also pointed out that of the 4 trustees who voted for her firing, 3 might not be here in January. 1 is retiring. 2 are up for re-election. I did email the 4 trustees who voted for her ouster about an hour ago. Still have not yet heard back. Reporting live here in San Jose, Bob Riddell, NBC Bay Area News.
So I feel like I don't know why they would do it in a closed door meeting, but I don't know anything about the Santa Clara County Board of Education.
Yeah, it's actually an HR decision, so it actually has to be happen in closed session. You're not allowed to have conversations about your employees hiring and firing in open session. It's actually to protect the superintendent's rights to privacy with regard to their employment. So yeah, it has to be in closed session, but then you report out the results of whatever votes were taken in closed session. You just don't get to report out the specifics of what was discussed. So we may never know what was raised, what was spoken of, what were the causes. If there obviously weren't any causes in the final result, but what were the reasons that as former board member Rossi put it, the vindictive personal agenda of one board member, what was that? Who was that? I know who it was, but we may not know, in a public sense, unless one of the board members speaks out and breaks the sort of cone of silence around it. And maybe that will come with pressure, maybe not, but there's definitely an agenda going on here, a political agenda. And it has nothing to do with our kids. It has nothing to do with that poor woman and her IEP with her child and her special needs child. It has nothing to do with that at all. It has nothing to do with supporting her or getting her any sort of recourse. Parents of special needs children are constantly having to fight and protect their rights and fight to be heard. And it's not Superintendent Dewan's fault that they're not. Sometimes the system is aligned against them. Anyway, long story short, this is not helping kids. It's not solving the problem. It's just fulfilling someone's agenda. And that's not the reason to make a change like this or to fire someone without cause, especially in that high profile of a position.
Well, now we're going to talk about BART. We got some new fare gates at BART, and we're going to take a look at them, and I guess they're helping with security. We'll see.
Let's do it.
So BART has been ramping up security and cracking down on fare evasion with new gates across the system. So several stations in the East Bay and San Francisco have actually been upgrading and working now. The work is underway on the new gates at the 16th Street Mission Station. These new gates, along with a new approach by police, seem to be working. And if you ask the police chief and regular riders, well, Max Darrow will tell you what they say.
Walking through the Civic Center station, BART Police Chief Kevin Franklin says his team is on a mission to make BART safer and to change people's perceptions of the transit system.
We really need to continue our presence. Our passengers and employees have been very clear with that they want to see presence here.
The chief says they've changed their deployment strategy with more of a visible presence in the stations and on the trains.
It reinforces the the requirement that we do have a code of conduct here. There are laws there.
In the first half of 2024, BART PD nearly doubled the amount of enforcement contacts when comparing it to the first half of 2023. And as contacts have gone up, the number of trains delayed by incidents requiring BART PD have gone down substantially. Then there are the new fare gates designed to make it harder for people to get into the system without paying.
How's 24th been working out with that secondary side?
Way better.
Yeah?
Yeah, 24th.
7 stations now have the new fare gates. BART plans to have 8 more stations finished by the end of the year and the whole system upgraded by the end of next year.
The number of Clipper card transactions at stations with the new fare gates has increased sharply. So we know more people are using their Clipper cards at those stations.
Some riders have started to see a difference. John rides BART once a week.
It looks like there's more people on a regular basis using the train, especially weekends.
He's noticed more of a police presence in recent months.
The biggest issue with getting more people to ride is to feel safe. So having more of at least the illusion of safety makes a difference on people that want to ride.
Overall, he thinks the new fare gates are working well. However, they're not foolproof.
Somebody literally snuck in with me as I was trying to get in through one of the new gates, and I was kind of like, what are you doing, man?
Watch here. A man sneaks through behind someone who paid, and then this guy rushes in behind another paying rider. Franklin says there is still work to be done. However,
it's really eliminated the people that are, fare evading just because it was easy to fare evade, and now we can just focus on the people who really are trying to get in the system, determined fare evaders, and we have an enforcement strategy that can take care of that.
Working to change perceptions and realities in the hopes of improving safety and getting people back on board.
Like many law enforcement agencies, BART Police is dealing with a staffing shortage. The chief says he's looking to fill 18 police officer vacancies.
So, chat's like gun turrets. So like, yeah, I mean, no matter how you do this, right? If you have something that opens up for a long enough time that maybe people who walk a little bit more slowly or whatever can get through, then somebody like me who's, we'll say I walk with purpose when I'm on my way to the train. Well, somebody's going to be able to sneak in behind me.
Yeah, a determined fare evader will definitely be able to to make it in there. And anyone in a rush, they just like that. That clip was perfect, right? You just wait for someone who's in a rush, not really paying attention. They rush through, and you just rush in behind them. It's pretty simple. But I struggle to understand how this dude expects to like get people to be at ease when you're walking through any space. White dude in a police uniform, gun in your hip, and it's like, hey, how you doing there? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming to BART. I don't think you're projecting any sort of friendly nature anytime you're in a uniform like that, but and packing heat on top of it. But maybe that's just me. I've been abused. First, Dave. I'm triggered. Anyway, long story short, it's good to see that they're cracking down. I think, like they said, persistent and aggressive fare evaders will still find a way to make it work for them. People always find a way to get around things, right? But good that they're trying to recover more fare, because BART hasn't been a good fare recovery system. It's not necessarily because people are evading the fares. It's more because people aren't riding BART as much as they should or need to make it also, more cost recovery. I
also feel like, and I know this is going to be some fucking bleeding heart shit. Find somebody that's evading the fare. It's important maybe to find out if the BART fare is a significant impact on their monthly bills, and if so, maybe just hand them a fucking Clipper card with $30 on it, and
right. And maybe that would help. Maybe that could help someone in need. Maybe they're evading the fare not because they they just love breaking the law. Maybe they don't have the funds and they're trying to get somewhere and they're trying to use the system, right? So, like you said, that's a great idea. Why not? Especially if you're not losing too much. I would love to see the numbers to see how much they're really losing from what they think is fare evasion.
So I'm happy to pay for BART, and I'm incredibly pissed off every time I have to pay for Caltrain. I'm like, why is your fucking choo-choo train? Now they got electric ones at least, but before that, I was like, this is just a fucking choo-choo train. Why the fuck is this shit so expensive?
Right, and it's still pricier than BART, and I don't see any other reason for that other than look who it serves, right? The peninsula and all the people that can afford to pay a little more, right?
Right.
So they charge a little more for the service, right? So they can be on that, and they can all be together on that nice, clean train that only they can afford to sit on, right? And it's the same reason why does BART not wrap around the whole Bay Area? Why doesn't it go through San Mateo and Santa Clara County in the first place? Oh, I don't know.
They used to call it Mobile Oakland.
Just throwing that out there. Anyway, we'll see if this has any long-term
You know what, though?
impacts.
If the reason Caltrain's more expensive is because there's bathrooms on the car, then I'm actually okay with the extra expense, because there ain't nothing worse than being on BART and having to take a piss. I'm going to tell you.
That's true. So the bathrooms are nice. Free Wi-Fi would be better. I think they have charging stations on the new train, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, speaking of modern technology, ooh, like that segue?
Yep.
In transportation. So, Producer Dave, you threw this on the docket. This is certainly something that made the good wife and I laugh out loud the other night, quite literally. So everyone knows that Waymo and other self-driving taxis are a thing. They are coming and they are here. And
they're annoying everyone.
And they're annoying everyone with their honking and their incessant, back and forth and not recognizing people in the street and yada. Anyway, some ruffians have discovered a way to confront these new deviant vehicles, and we're going to find out more about that from NBC Bay Area.
Unsettling and apparently unmovable. Tonight, Waymo riders are raising concerns after a string of attacks on Waymo cars in San Francisco.
In each case, the cars became immobilized in traffic with riders inside. Taggers attacked 3 cars, and then in another incident, 2 men harassed a female rider inside a car. SFPD is investigating, and Waymo
I bet these are distinct and discrete incidents.
assuring riders these are rare occurrences. Here's NBC Bay Area Sergio Quintana.
Oh my God!
From inside their Waymo car,
You're just in the mission. It's fine.
Angeles are clearly shocked as taggers vandalize the car.
Why?
They're just repainting it.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
They screamed because they say one of the vandals threw something at the Waymo as the group ran off. The women called Waymo rider support asking what to do since the car wouldn't move.
No, we're not okay. We need, they're like hitting us with stuff, the car.
The Waymo car...
One lady's like, lady, chill out. It's the car they're hitting.
That was not the only incident involving a Waymo that day. In widely circulated video shared on social media and aired on television, this video showed taggers graffitiing another Waymo. The passenger in this incident appears to sit calmly with a dog in his lap. San Francisco police say
that's the right way to handle this.
Completely.
Reported on Saturday, September 21st. They all happened in the Mission District and are all under...
I knew that was the Mission. I might have known exactly where that was, actually.
At Mission and 9th Street.
Was it you, Producer Dave?
No, but...
In that instance,
oh, that's not you. Who's this guy?
He was just getting in the way, like the Waymo cars do.
Men who stood in front of it and repeatedly...
They're going to rename the company In the Waymo.
Motioning to her.
I have to go! Please stop! You're holding traffic! Stop!
In her social media post about this...
Call me on my cell phone.
Blowtorch. She was clearly rattled by the whole situation, but she says she has...
Those are just hipsters.
Police report saying she doesn't think police would do anything. We reached out to Waymo about this. In a statement,
they want a date.
Spokesperson says rider support agents are trained to help customers in an emergency. In one of the videos, we can hear an agent calling 911 almost as soon as they called Waymo support. The Waymo spokesperson says these kinds of events are extremely rare, and they're continuously trying to figure out ways to improve their rider experience.
Gun turrets.
Waymo expands its service to Los Angeles, Austin, and Atlanta. It's likely more of these incidents may happen.
Stop!
The woman who shared the video of men harassing her for a phone number suggested that Waymo program its cars to steer clear of certain neighborhoods. She says the human factor will always be the hardest problem to solve with autonomous vehicles. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.
No, you can't. You program those cars to avoid certain neighborhoods, and then they're just not going to pick up poor people.
Correct. I mean, that's a very slippery slope, folks. I love that Sergio's reporting too, by the way, from Sergio. Sorry, he's reporting, by the way, from the lot where all the Waymo cars are backing up and honking at each other, right? And I'm unable to move in the middle of the night and keeping people up late. But as they said, these incidents are few and far between. I think I agree with you. The dude with the dog in his lap had the exact right approach. Just let it happen. It's not my car. It's whatever. If they want to tag the car, fine. I'll get where I'm going eventually. Just hang out. You're getting literally taking advantage of one of the most lackadaisical services ever. Please pick me up in a car and take me somewhere. No driver. I just need an automaton, a bot to get me there. So don't complain if the bot gets sidetracked and graffitied upon while you're driving it. And by the way, one more thing, and another thing. People who call 911 and can't, or whatever, customer support, let's just say customer support, because you've had some time to think about it, and can't provide a decent linear narrative of what the fuck happened, right? They're attacking us. What the fuck do you mean? Who is attacking you? Where are you? Who are you? What's going on, right? Like, start with the facts and proceed from there. Instead, they just jump right to shit's happening. So please, people, tell the narrative, tell the story, take a moment, take a breath, help the operator help you.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's just, I think this is just a really bad idea all around. I don't know how they were disabling the cars. I guess by standing in front of it, because the car's not going to run you over.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of the safety feature of the car, which is that they're not supposed to run people over, and they don't generally run people over. So this is actually proving that the safety features work.
Until they don't.
Until they don't. And a crossing guard gets run over, sadly. But that will not be on Downballot. They don't do that.
No, we don't cover that kind of shit. We'll leave that for the regular news.
Correct.
So we're going to, we got to get your shit together. And this is, if you could imagine this, back in Antioch, they got a new city manager.
Yeah, they're getting their shit together. And we're going to learn about who's going to help them get their shit together.
In theory.
In theory.
Antioch has a new city manager tonight. The East Bay city has been without a permanent city manager for over a year as it grapples with gun violence, staffing shortages, and a federal probe into the police department. As NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith explains, the hope is now that a new leader will mean a new outlook for the city.
We launched an extensive process to find the right city manager to carry out the reforms we have to continue to help unite our city.
Antioch Mayor Lamar Hernandez-Thorpe welcomed incoming city manager Bessie Scott at City Hall today.
Homelessness, public safety, housing, and police accountability are four key priorities for this council. And I believe and I know that Ms. Scott's background are the right qualifications.
Antioch has been without a permanent city manager since July of 2023. Its police department is working to rebuild following a federal investigation while dealing with ongoing staffing concerns and other challenges facing the city.
The recent events in this city around gun violence have been front page news and has negatively impacted everyone. There is no othering and belonging when it comes to gun violence.
Scott is coming from Seattle, where she was the Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety. She says she already has a plan for the first 100 days.
To work with the mayor, the city council, the residents, and interim Chief Addington to address key staffing vacancies, issues of public safety and policing, including the hiring of a permanent police chief.
Supporters say Scott's background in police accountability and reform will help the city. However, her detractors have recently pointed to some of Scott's past social media posts involving race.
Now, I know this is more boring than some of my past social media posts, but this is the actual work. So we won't weaponize issues of race and social justice that happened 6 or 7 years in this space. What I came to do is the work, and that's what I'm going to do.
The city council approved Scott's appointment with a 3-2 vote. Council member Mike Barbanica voted no.
We have 3 seats on the city council that are up for re-election. There's a very strong possibility that the direction of the council and the council majority may change. If that does occur, this is using taxpayer money, and it's irresponsible in my opinion.
Christy Smith, NBC Bay Area News.
So they just shouldn't have hired anybody, obviously, because there's an election going to happen eventually. The next people might not like it.
Yeah, I mean, just never hire anyone, then never hire a city manager. Just go without one. And the council can run the city, I guess.
Chat's like, eat shit, Mike.
Right. Mike Barnacle needs to just chill out. He's been one of the thorns in Mayor Thorpe's side this entire time, just gadflying and not offering any real solutions. Just, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like black people. So, yeah, shut the fuck up, bro, and take a seat. And let's see if this new city manager can actually do what she says she's going to do, which is clean up this town. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we got some good news out of Fremont for And Another Thing this week. Last week we covered some bad news out of Fremont, but this is the best news out of Fremont I think that has ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, your mayoral race may be a shambles, but at least you got the best mullets in all the land.
Let's check this out.
A Fremont teen has been recognized for rocking the best mullet in the country, and he has the belt to prove it. Amanda Harry shows us why it was somewhat of a tangled road to get here.
Look at that.
Every morning, 14-year-old Mason Padilla of Fremont goes through the same ritual.
So I put detangler in and then just brush it through.
All of this to keep his business in the front, party in the back style on point.
Put it in there. I saw the movie Joe Dirt. He looked cool when I watched the movie, so he inspired me to get a mullet.
When Mason wanted to try the style, his mom, Michelle Padilla, says she encouraged him to do it.
We'll let you try anything once, and we'll see how you feel about it when you have it, and if you love it, then keep going with it.
And he kept going until he became the teen national mullet champ.
Fuck yeah.
The USA Mullet Championship is an online competition. Contestants are judged by a panel on mullet length, style, and uniqueness. They also collect donations for a charity. This year was Jared Allen's Home for Wounded Warriors. Finally, there's an online voting period, but all of this almost didn't happen. Shortly after Mason first started growing out his mullet, nearly 5 years ago, he decided to cut it after he experienced bullying.
His older brother's friend that was saying that he had a girl haircut, and I believe at one point said that he had a rat's tail.
It made me feel like mad and sad.
After that, he doubled down and committed to the style. Professor of Public Health and psychologist at Cal State East Bay, Mike Stanton, says this type of bullying is common among adolescents.
Changing themselves, that sometimes works, but people are going through a lot of changes, and it might work one day and the bullies might find something else, to bully the child on. So it's not always a quick, easy fix like that.
He suggests the child finds a support network, possibly good friends, trusted adults, or a counselor or therapist. He adds it's important for kids to stay true to themselves.
Being authentic definitely is going to pay dividends in the long run.
Because Mason didn't let the bullies win, he's celebrating his win.
GoPro Hero 12. $1,000.
Fuck yeah.
And a trophy belt. Mason says while he plans to keep the belt forever, he has a different plan for the money.
I'm gonna donate some of it for Wigs for Kids, and then around Christmas time, I'm gonna donate some money to a program that raises money for little kids that don't have enough, that their parents don't have enough money to buy them presents.
Sharing his winnings to give back to others.
So Padilla says he's not sure if he's going to defend his title next year, and if he does cut off his hair, he is donating it to Wigs for Kids.
Oh my God, that kid is so cool.
That was fabulous. You have to respect it. When you see that last shot of him, you can completely see the business and party aspect to it. Like if you just cropped the back hair out, like he would be totally business casual, ready to go, Silicon Valley style, and then you add in the back, and it's just glorious,
fucking luxurious.
Very jealous. I used to be able to have hair like that, not anymore. Instead, I'm rocking the bald spot mullet. Like I don't know what you call that. Like dead. No one turns up for the party in the back, right? And then and then hiding out in the front. I don't know. Anyway, that's why I wear so many hats.
Yep. Well, that's a great story, and that's pretty much the end of the show. I kind of got to pee, so you want to close the show out for us, Pete?
Absolutely, I will do that. And thank you as always, Bruce Day, for manning the dials for us, or staffing the dials, or whatever you do with the dials. You twist them and you turn them in. It makes it sound lovely. So one day we'll do a show about how great this show sounds. Anyway, thank you as always for joining us, viewer. Thank you, listener, for downloading this podcast, keeping us the 9th best local news podcast in California, according to some dude. We invite you to get your vaccinations. It is the season for both COVID and flu. Wear a mask when it's appropriate. You don't have to wear pants. It's entirely optional. We're going to leave you with some audible smoke and invite you to tune in for public comment, which is coming up next. And we'll see you next week for Down Ballot, as always, at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Thanks so much. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. Let's get the fuck up on stage and rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the field for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside?
I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rockin' me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jockin' me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'm probably doing sloppily.
We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.
Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah,
we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want to do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and